Hello, Ico.
Hello, and it's pronounced Eco.
Eco. Hello, Eco.
Hello, I'm really honored to be interviewed by you today, Virginia. Thank you so much for this.
I am
Uh,
so glad you're here.
Thank you. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Eco, spelled ICO. It stands for Incredibly Caring Organism, and I am the founder of the Enlightened Consent Foundation. And what the Enlightened Consent Foundation is we provide kinky, polyamorous, and LGBTQ plus identified people with transformative experiences and supportive resources. So you get to experience being completely seen, honored, and loved. And we're co-creating a world where everyone feels that they belong in. Uh, for myself, I identify in all of those realms as well. I'm queer, gender fluid, using they, them pronouns. I am polyamorous, and I'm also a kinky switch, so I go both on the top and the bottom sides of things.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing the beautiful purpose that you're here living. And I would love to hear a little bit about your journey of getting to the point where you founded the Enlightened Consent Foundation, because man, I feel like maybe it wasn't always so easy to be so brave and true to yourself.
You're right. It wasn't always that easy. Always that easy. And I grew up in the Midwest, in Minnesota. Yeah, sure. You betcha, don't you know? And and with that, I grew up in a very heteronormative, monogamous society that was very homogeneous. You know, there was a very strong emphasis on you find someone of the opposite gender, you look to go and get married and have this lifelong relationship with them. You have the kids, the house, the white picket fence, all of that cultural narrative. And there are definitely things of that resonate with me and other things that didn't. And something along my journey was having to go and parse out how much of that did I actually genuinely want for myself versus what else was it that culture and society actually said that I should want, that I was supposed to want, compared to what's actually authentic to me. And it was not until I was going to college that I really started to step more into discovering who and what I wanted for myself. Um, at that point in time, I was looking just to find out how to get more dates in general. I was geeky, I was nerdy, I didn't have the best social skills. So it's like, okay, let me utilize the one skill that I did know that I had well. I was a really good student. I could read. So
Yes.
I invested in this book called Double Your Dating by what was his name? David Angelo, or something like that. Yeah, the book was Double Your Dating. And in that book, it one of the things was it put forth the premise that there were women that a guy could go and approach and could go and say, "Hey, I want to date you. I want to be sexual with you, and I don't want to be exclusive." And that there are actually women out there that would be okay with that. That was like mind blowing to me at the time. It's like, what? Like,
Well, also that kind of direct communication in a respectful way, like, but that directness is mind blowing to me as well. Like, that's awesome, I think.
yeah, and I found that the direct communication is actually really, really important. And there's a lot of shame around asking for what we really want and what it is that our actual desires are. And what I've actually found discovered is that when we ask for directly what we want, it is actually much more of a turn on, rather than trying to be coy, rather than trying to make yourself into what the other person wants to go and be. One of the things that really solidified that in my mind was I went to this personal growth course called the Authentic Man program in San Francisco. And during that, they brought in these really self-aware women, and all the guys in the course were instructed to do this exercise of doing your best to try to bomb.
That sounds
And
fun.
it was. And you know, I had also by that time discovered an interest in the kink life. And one of the things that when I found the world of BDSM that I absolutely loved was the whole idea of negotiation, being able to be like, before any play happens, being able to have a conversation of, this is what I want, and this is what turns me on. This is what I'm curious about, so we might try that at some point. And these are my hard limits. These are the things that are just going to piss me off. They don't work for me, so we're not even going to go and try. And I thought, how much simpler would dating life be in general if we could just have that open, honest conversation?
Amen. Seriously. And I think that this is happening, and BDSM rules are beginning to be applicable to the mainstream, or people are getting that.
It is, and I'll speak to that more in a moment. And so within this exercise, knowing myself to be kinky, I thought that I would bomb if I were just totally um, totally blatant about what my desires were, because I thought that they were so outrageous that you know, that there's no way that this enlightened aware woman would ever be actually interested. So I walked up to her and said, hey, I want to go and pull you by the hair, give you a deep, passionate kiss, go and take you back to my place, go and flog and spank you, and then have my way with you. And then I paused. She looked me right in the eye and said, you're not bombing.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and try. I'm going to try doubling down on this approach. How raunchy, how vulgar can I actually be? And I went into even more explicit detail than that, and added more things that I'd say that I wanted to go and do to her. And when I was done, she looked at me again and said, "You're still not bombing." There's something that is very powerful and attractive when you state your authentic desires like that and you honestly own them.
Whoa. That is moving. Like, oh, just so much, dude, because we have that idea, right? That our desires, well, first of all, most of us aren't even in deep enough relationship with ourselves to have seen or acknowledged those desires. But then when we do, it's like, oh, that's got to be way too much, or way too fucked up, or way too weird. And this is such an amazing exercise where you were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say like the most crazy direct thing ever, I'm totally gonna bomb it. It's like, actually, that's the most attractive thing you could say.
Right, right. Because what I've discovered is that when we're actually true and authentic to ourselves, there is something that is very magical and attractive to that, and being able to own who it is that we are, what it is that we want and desire, rather than trying to actually just make ourselves into whatever we think we're supposed to be, or what the other person thinks they want to be. For a lot of the feminine identified people that I've worked with in my sacred sexuality shamanism that I do, I found that a lot of them are really able to easily make themselves into whatever they think the other person is, because a
Dude,
lot
you're
of the,
speaking my language. Like, I
yeah,
used to think that was my biggest talent.
a lot of the feminine is taught that, hey, they're supposed to go and focus on their partner, not in about themselves. And in through working with me, actually being able to help them to really focus in what is it that they want, what is it that what is it that she needs, what is it that she desires, what turns her on.
I mean, so I'm so excited right now because pretty soon I'm going to have a divine dialogue with this Jungian psychoanalyst and therapist named Polly Young Eisendrath, who wrote this book called Women and Desire Beyond Wanting to Be Wanted that I read earlier this year. And it blew my mind open. And it's literally exactly what you're talking about right now, because so much of it was about how we are trained, and it's not just women, but I think there's a heavier like feminine identified role thing of we are trained to learn, how can I be the object of your desire, not the subject of my own desire. So it's like literally I train myself that what's sexy to me is like when I turn other people on. I have no idea what actually turns me on. So how do you
Yeah.
teach people to do that?
Mm. Oh, one of the ways is uh, going through a process of actually getting clear on what you actually desire for yourself. And I actually have a free worksheet called Getting to Know Your Sexual Desires that I am going to be sharing with your audience here. So that is a free to download. That'll include the link for that with this podcast. And for those of you who are listening to this, you can just go to bit.ly/my sex desires, bit.ly/my sex sex desires desires. And from that, you'll be able to just put in your first name and your email, and you'll have instant access to that Getting to Know Your Sexual Desires worksheet. And, that
Yeah.
will that will take you through a very simple process. It'll take like 5 to 10 minutes, and really be able to get clear on, it's like, what is it that you want to go for? What kind of relationship are you looking for like a long term, a short term, one night stand? Do you want someone of the same gender, opposite gender? Do you not care about gender? And it's okay to not care about gender. Um, are you looking for something monogamous? Are you looking for something non-monogamous? Uh, are you looking for physical sex? Are you looking to get off? Are you looking for like a romantic, passion kind of connection? Are you looking for an intellectual connection? Are you looking for being able to make these, spirit, soul to soul kind of connection with someone? And any way that you answer, there is no one true right only way. There is what is right for you. And you're allowed to change your mind and have different answers at different times too. Just because you pick something that that you had in the past, or whatever you pick right now, in the future you can say, I want something completely different, and that's okay.
Thank you so much for saying that, because as a woman also, and to be honest, I've even experienced it in some relationships with people like that I've met through my YouTube channel and things. But I think in relationships and life in general, you know, I think sometimes we are scared to say what we want as well, because there's this feeling of like you're not allowed to change your mind, and this shaming that can happen of like, well, you did this before, you said this before, so now you're just a liar, or like your desires can't be trusted, versus this idea of like it's a fluid of all, it's almost like our desires are like living things almost, they change.
Yeah, and shame is a huge thing that holds us back. in a life. And I'm in a collaboration right now, and just recently I did an hour-long masterclass for free, um, called the Recognizing and Releasing Shame.
Can we
And
link to that too?
absolutely, we can go and link to that.
Okay.
Yes, and later in mid-July, I think it's on the 15th. No, that one is, I think, actually the 8th. So just over a week from now, we're going to be starting our 8-part series called "Breaking the Bonds of Shame." So helping people to actually break out and break away from shame and release that, so they can actually feel free to really pursue what they want in their love life. And it goes far beyond just the bedroom that shame affects. It affects both personal and professional life, how we go and relate to others. Something that I didn't realize until I was working with my collaborator, Carolyn Knight, it was like the social anxiety and being like canceling plans, being afraid to leave the house. And I know that that's gone to a whole nother level during this past year with the whole coronavirus. Being able to like, no, I can't go out, and being like, I don't know what I should go and do. That's actually tied into deep shame, and that was surprising to me.
Wow. That gave me goosebumps just then. So I'm sure there's a lot of deep work and amazing gems in that program. And we'll link to that as well.
Yes, awesome.
Yes.
And thank you for being one to link to that, because it's something that I've went and dealt with myself, and having grown up as a cis white male, I got to grow up in a lot of privilege, and there is stuff that those who are feminine identified, or they're BIPOC people, who I have no idea what it was like growing up with them, or growing up for them, and what they've been through. It was a little over 2.5 years ago that I did start to identify as being queer gender fluid instead of a cis male. So for me, what that means is I do have a strong masculine side, and I also have a strong feminine side that wants and needs to be expressed. And when I start to explore that and start to actually show a feminine parts of myself and dressing feminine, I've had little bits of taste here and there, like those who just knew me as a straight man, showing up in a full dress. Even those who had done a lot of personal growth work with them, I saw visceral reactions, and how they reacted to me, and some were utterly repulsed. um, and that is all about them, and it's not actually about me. And I even had a guy who I talked with, who had one of those kind of more visceral reactions, come up to me later on when I was back dressed in masculine clothing again, who like just owned, it's like, hey, that reaction that I had, that was completely about me and my stuff. It has nothing to do with you, nothing against who you were. And that was really useful for me to be able to hear.
Yeah. And really beautiful for him to be able to own that and observe that and then communicate it. I mean, I'm sorry for the, reaction and the recoil, but also, and it's painful a lot of times, but when we're willing to fully be ourselves and maybe show those parts that society would shame or whatever, like on some level, well, on a big level, I think you give everyone else that permission too. And I think sometimes that recoil or that reaction, like they feel like they have to have that, because why else are they hiding all these parts of themselves?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like if they could do it too.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is a big part of why I have founded the Enlightened Consent Foundation. That I am creating a safer space for people who are like myself to come and be together with one another, to really be celebrated for who they are, for what they are, and so people can know that they're not broken, they're not bad, they're not fucked up for who they're attracted to or what their fantasies are, and being able to make whatever fantasy that you have, it's okay. You're not necessarily going to go and manifest those fantasies. Some fantasies are better left in the realm of fantasy, and often what we imagine or have as our fantasy is different than what shows up in reality. Anyways.
Yeah, that's, well, I love that though, not trying to repress whatever fantasy it is, like accepting the fantasies, not necessarily going out and needing it to happen in some cases. But so can you tell us, what is enlightened consent? What does it mean to you? Why did you choose that name?
What that means for me with enlightened consent is being able to have sovereignty over one's own body, over one's own choices, and doing what is right to them, or right for them, even if it's very different from what society says is okay, or what your religion that you may have been raised with says is acceptable. Of being able to come to the point of being like, this is truly who I am and what I want, and um, this is about me being internally congruent with who and what I am, instead of trying to hide myself away, or make myself bad or wrong, or see myself as broken, because I have these beautiful desires, that I have these longings for intimate connection and loving connection in a lot of different ways. And so within that, one of the things that I put forth as an idea is that as long as you and the other people that are consenting to what it is that you're going to go and do, and that you're also keeping to your already established relationship agreements, because we do have agreements with others, and we want to go and honor those boundaries and restrictions, that as long as we're holding to those, it doesn't matter what anyone else outside of that thinks or feels about what we're doing.
Wow. I mean, wow, that's profound. Like, it sounds simple, right? But I don't know about you. I've spent my whole life up to, this past year unconsciously making everything about what other people would think about what I do. And that's a really good way to have no idea what I would really do if no one was going to see.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that is part of the reason why I designed my Ignite Your Love Life 30-day challenge that is literally launching today on Memorial Day. Yeah, Memorial Day. And basically how it's set up is just 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 1 month to completely transform your love life.
Go on. Like, that's, I mean, are they like exercises? Are they meditations? Are they affirmations? Like, what are some of the tools?
Thank you for asking. This is a whole platform, and I partnered with this company called Enjoy Global, INJOY Global, to go and put this together, and is designed to actually empower you to authentically love, fully open-hearted, regardless of how you identify sexually, what your fantasies are. You're welcomed and embraced here. And as I'm the one running it, like, if you identify as being kinky, polyamorous, or LGBTQ plus, you are welcome, you are wanted. So please come join us. With this challenge, there's a platform that you access on a daily basis. you get you start off the day with a daily inspiration, and the first daily inspiration actually went out just earlier today. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Love is too beautiful to be hidden in the closet. So every day you get one of those sent right to your phone. It can be done on any platform. And
Gorgeous.
mhm, yeah, and so with that, that is just the beginning. There's also a daily intention that helps you stay on track for being to be able to improve your love life, and that goes into some of the core principles that I infuse both into my own personal life as well as into the Enlightened Consent Foundation, including coming from a place of uh, love, compassion, and humanity.
Mm.
So it's also said in a gamified way because we like people like to be competitive and they like to go and earn points. So there are simple actions that you can go and take each day, which when you get 100 points, you get a raffle entry for prizes at the end of the 30-day challenge. And some of those prizes are are pretty awesome, and you get hundreds of dollars worth of value for those who are the top engagers. There's also a wall of wins where you can go and share your successes and see the successes of others and cheer each other on, like give them a high five. There's a gratitude post to help people build the mental muscles of a positive and successful mindset.
Mm.
A coach's corner, so you can get short, specific coaching sessions on specific topics from me through what we're going on each week, and we do have weekly themes for that. And there's even a recognition ceremony with raffle prizes for those who have participated and are in the challenge. And it can be done from literally any device. Like it's designed specifically that can be done from mobile phone as well as from a laptop or PC or whatever you have.
Wow. So one amazing thing that I'm hearing you say about this is that it also connects people with community as far as the kinds of people who would do something like this. To me, a big connector would be people who are pretty self-aware and looking to, you know, be more authentic and true in their lives and connect with other people who are doing the same. That's amazing. And you told me, right, we're going to link to a special 50% off
Mhm.
link for this, right? So to be part of this
Yes.
is only like what, $45 or something? If it's
It's like we're normally offering it for $97, so you can get involved with this challenge with that discount for less than $50
yes.
for this entire month of awesome training and being able to take your love life to the next level.
So good.
And we do have, thank you for speaking to the community aspect, because we do have an amazing group of people coming together for this challenge. And we have people from all walks of life and different sexual orientations, gender identities joining us. And from this, all of us are going coming together to really ignite our love lives to become what we truly need, want, and crave. And one of the most underutilized and undervalued resources is the power of community and support. And when people come together in support of each other's personal and professional growth, magic happens. You
Amen.
know, and we can all learn from each other's experiences here, and there are so many opportunities in this challenge for people to go and engage one another. It's not required for people to participate, and it is really strongly encouraged. And every other person in this challenge is there because, just like they want to ignite their love life and become what they want, need, and crave. They
Mm.
want to grow their skills at creating better relationships, be authentic to who they truly are and what they really desire, have healthier communications, welcoming communities, and ultimately a better world where everyone feels that they belong.
Mm. A better world where everyone feels that they belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And uh, there is a different theme for each week. This first week, we're going into discovering your sexual and romantic desires. So if you do get that free worksheet that I mentioned earlier, that will go and give you kind of a jump head start on that. Week 2 is embracing what your heart wants, because once you have discovered what you want, there can be stuff that comes up being like, I actually want this. Oh my God, is it okay for me to want this?
Yeah.
Yes, it's actually okay for you to want what your heart wants and to pursue that. Now, week 3 is accepting all of who you are. And this is a process and journey that I have been on in accepting my own different thoughts, my own different desires, including something that is much newer for myself. I work off of a inner aspect model of like there are different parts within each person. So there can be like, you have your inner goddess aspect, you have inner warrior aspect, you have a part that is an inner saboteur, a part that feels afraid. And more recently I got in touch with the part of me that identifies as a gay male.
Mm.
And in talking, interacting with him, he was like, I want to he said that I want to be able to actually just suck on a big cock and have like something shoved up my ass, and being like,
Whew.
oh, okay. And being like, okay, this is an authentic desire for myself. And I've had trauma back in my 20s, in my first homosexual experience, where I literally got into a threesome with 2 other guys. And then the very next day, when I talked to one of the guys about it, kind of like as a debrief, he literally threatened to slit my throat if I told someone about what we'd done together.
Whoa.
And from that,
Oh my God.
yeah, and from that, when I would find myself attracted to other guys, I would um, only allow myself to like kiss and cuddle with them. I told them that I wasn't interested in actually oral or penetration. And
Whoa.
to discover was like, this was my way of me keeping myself safe so I wouldn't have my life threatened again. And
I have
and we're
goosebumps like crazy. Like that is, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. That's so vulnerable and such a beautiful lesson to all of us of like going back to these original wounds that often are what keeps us from feeling safe and saying our desires and listening to those parts of ourselves.
yeah, you're very welcome. And I've been going through my own process, and just had a recent healing session of being able to work with a couple of conscious individuals who use this beautiful enjoy toy that I've had for quite a while, which is specifically designed for
Ooh.
anal play. And
Oh.
on myself to actually trust and in love, to be penetrated by this. And it was quite the loving and healing experience. And
Wow.
something that I actually asked one of them for afterwards, uh, uh, just in part of healing that own trauma, is like, can you please reassure me that none of us who participate in this, no one's going to actually threaten my life if I want to tell anyone else about this, because that was kind of a core piece of my trauma. And I got that reassurance, like, no one here is going to threaten your life for sharing about this, or for you being you desiring what you actually authentically want. That was amazing for me to hear.
Wow. That is deep work. I am very inspired and very proud of you. And like, honestly, that's so deep. That's so relatable. And going to that deep place, because I feel like everyone has desires that maybe it wasn't as overt of a situation that you experienced, but that like at that deep core, there's actually a fear that my life will be threatened if I express this desire.
Yeah, yeah. And there are those that react viscerally just from seeing these authentic expressions of self. And it's a tragedy of, that so many trans women are murdered on an annual basis. That there's an annual Day of Remembrance that happens in November, just to list off the names of trans people that have been killed just because they were being their natural, authentic selves. And,
Yeah, that I grew up in Wyoming. So, and this is just still, it just brings tears to my eyes, honestly. And I'm so thankful for the work and living that people like you are doing in the world, because yeah, it's not, I mean, coming to this mutual understanding of my authentic self doesn't threaten you and you not needing to threaten my authentic self. Like, me just being myself is not threatening to you in this way that, I mean, nothing merits killing or abusing somebody. But,
yeah.
I definitely come from a state with a legacy of killing and abusing people who are just being themselves, which might be gay, for one thing.
Mhm. The movie Brokeback Mountain comes to mind when you say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And there
And
was
yeah,
I don't know if I don't know how many years ago it was now, but a man named Matthew Shepard in Laramie, Wyoming was in a bar. He was a gay person and he was drugged to death on the back of a truck. Yeah. So,
tragic. Oh, and this is part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I've also made the commitment to the divine a number of years ago, to be an example to the world of what is possible in sex, love, and relationships, and showing that people like myself can actually have these healthy and consensual relationships, and a lot of different ways that can look like, because it doesn't have to look any one particular way, just what works for you. And something that stopped me for a number of years after I made the commitment. What I wrestled with is like, there are going to be people that are going to um, twist this message of love and connection. There are going to be people that will hate me, villainize me, even demonize me
yeah.
for bringing forth this message of saying that it's okay to be part of the LGBTQ plus. It's okay to be kinky. It's okay to be ethically non-monogamous.
Yes.
And, and there's been a part of me that's been like, I really want to be liked. I want to
Right.
be approved of, and something that I've come to terms with in moving forwards with this is, it is far more important for me to and to authentically be congruent and okay with myself first and foremost, because no one else is promised to be with me. I have an ex-wife, even with those vows, no one else is going to be with me. I am the only one. I'm the one sole person in my life that I can say with no doubt whatsoever that I'm going to be with me for as long as I live in this lifetime. So I get to be in right relationship with myself first and foremost.
And that is sovereignty to me. What you just like, that's a word that's coming up a lot. And this like idea of being in right relationship and complete in that right relationship with yourself. I mean, I think that's the only place that you can have healthy relationships with others from, is from that place, because you're not looking to be completed anymore.
Right. And that's why we spend the first 3 weeks out of the five of this 30-day challenge focused on that self of what is it I want, what is it that I want and need for me, becoming internally congruent with being okay what my heart wants, and being able to truly embrace all of who I am. And because that is one of the biggest chunks of that within it. And then once you have those in place, the rest of it starts to fall out even easier and more naturally. Because as we were discussing earlier, the example of like when you actually own what your authentic desires are, when you're okay with wanting it, it becomes so much more magically attractive to other people, because they can feel that congruence. It's not like putting on a mask. And there is a risk in this authenticity. That the risk is that that if they say no, if they say I don't want that, then they're actually saying no, that they don't want you, who you really are.
Right. But you are hitting on something that's so vital, because here the risk you take is that not everyone's going to like you, right? And I'm with you on the like recovering people pleaser, like living my whole life that I would rather have everyone like me than anyone really love me for who I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the risk is like, yeah, there are going to be people when you're authentic that don't want that don't want you, don't want you. But when there are people who do, and it's for the real you, whoa.
Yeah, and along that, a lot of us try to put on this mask, and one of the drawbacks is like if someone falls in love with the mask, they're not actually loving me for me. They fall in love with this projection, with this mask of who I'm really not. So it's like, are they really loving me anyways? It's like, no, they're not.
No, and you're not letting your true self be loved. Like, your true self is in there. Like, why are you pretending that that's who you are?
Right. And something that I said a few weeks ago for the first time out loud, which surprised me when I said it out loud to someone else, was I'd rather be hated for who I truly am than loved for who I'm actually not.
Woo! Write it down. Because I am on that journey as well. And when you can act, like, it's really cool that you just said it and it surprised yourself. Because to me, that indicates like that's in your unconscious now. That's in your subconscious, like becoming conscious. Like that's super powerful. Like you're like, I meant that.
Yeah, I genuinely did. I mean, when I said it, it was fully congruent and being like, did I just say that I would rather be hated for who I truly am? Yep, because it is more important for me to actually be true and authentic to myself than what other people may think about me.
My goodness. You
And
are an inspiration.
thank you. And so, like, going back to the speaking about the rest of the challenge for a brief moment, that in our fourth week, we begin to go into sharing your sexual and romantic desires with others. Because being able to be clear on it with yourself, great, awesome. And then how do you actually get those fulfilled? Well, it takes communication and speaking to that to other people, which is a whole nother level of that. And once you're actually clear on what it is that you want and need for yourself, once you're actually enjoying congruent and being okay with wanting what your heart wants, it becomes so much easier to speak those desires out into the world and to other people. And then with the final week of the challenge, week 5, is living your love life on your terms.
Wow, I mean, that's revolutionary, right? Because we have this feeling of like, well, I'm gonna have to, it's so hard to find love. God knows that if I am gonna find it, it's gonna be because I totally conform myself around something that on someone else's terms.
Mhm. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that way. And something that I've heard years ago kind of ties into that, which is being able to walk into a room where there is no one else and enjoying the company there.
I love that.
And so what I would like you and your audience to consider is like, what would your life be like if you could be totally in love with yourself, that you were actually loving who you were and what you're doing, and living your love life on your terms.
Well, I mean, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up there because that is such a beautiful place to leave it. And I really hope that people check out your challenge. I know I'm going to.
Thank you. And for those of you that are listening, I'll give the link, which will also be in the description for all this. For those of you listening right now, if you go to bit.ly/ignite love 1, so bit.ly/ignite, IGNITE, love, LOVE, and the number 1. That will take you to the page for the 30-day challenge. And in the coupon code, put challenge 50, 50. And that will give you that 50% off to be a part of the 30-day Ignite Your Love Life challenge. And I would love you, Virginia, and your listeners to come and join us to be a part of that.
Yes, I'm immediately like thinking of like 5 friends that I want to send the link to. So, I mean, and then there's my like, texting, and then this video, of course, will find a larger audience than that. But
yeah, definitely, and for those, I am happy to go and extend that for this Memorial Day special of being able to go and get that 50% off and to be able to go and join. I would love to go and have you, and hold the intention that your 5 friends would be one to go and join as well.
yes, and I just want to confirm with people as well, you are a sex and relationship coach too. Yes, like people can work with you.
Yes, absolutely. I have been embracing my intuition and as well as my spirituality that I incorporate into my coaching work that I've been doing. And I've been doing that coaching work now for over 10 years. And it's been in the past few years that I've really delved more into including the spiritual aspect. So I refer to myself as a sacred sexuality shaman at this point.
Yes.
And yes, people definitely can do one-on-one sessions with me, and also some of the prizes that I mentioned for being a part of the challenge is actually getting to have some sessions with me, and the top prize is me actually spending a day with you.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, after this hour-long conversation, I would love to spend a day with you, is my takeaway.
Oh, if you come and join the challenge and actually go with the full participation, you'll get your the most raffle tickets possible for that. And as I mentioned, is a gamified system, so every 100 points that you go and get, you're able to go and get 1 raffle entry. And to just max out the tickets, all it takes is like about 5 minutes a day, 5 times a week. Yes, there are things 7 days a week, and to max out the points, it is just 5 days a week. Takes about 5 minutes, and come transform your love life and take it to the next level, with both myself and Virginia, because I'm actively participating in this challenge too. I'm going to be there right in the trenches with you.
Cool. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Eco. This has been just a phenomenal conversation. I'm so thankful again to Carolyn Elliott's community for connecting me to so many great people. And I look forward to having future dialogues and collaborations and interactions with you.
I look forward to that as well. Thank you so much for interviewing me today and sharing me with your audience. And you are loved. All is well.
Amen. Okay, well, you have a beautiful rest of your day and we will be in touch.
We'll be in touch soon. Yes. And I'll see you on the challenge.
Sounds good. Okay, bye.